I scored 391 points at a sound quality competition. Let's break it down. First off, go over the setup. I have custom A-pillars and sail panel pods that, turn this around, for Melee Legend tweeters, Melee Pro mid-ranges with the Legend grills so they match. Wrapped in suede with the headliner and all that to match. And then I have Melee Pro 6.5 woofers in the doors. Back up here. And I didn't get the subs that I wanted installed, so I have my old American Bass 12. It's in a prefab Scar box that I bought like 7 years ago. So I was kind of worried on that part being sloppy or not really able to control the output as the way I wanted. But I actually got really good scores on it. I guess really good. It was on par. They were on par, and I was expecting to get like kind of knocked down in that part. So that's cool. I was streaming audio through a beacon, so optical to the DSP. Because I had issues with stuttering on Android Auto and all that stuff, and I don't have to worry about it. So I went optical to the DSP. Yeah, I'll show you the scorecards next. We'll go over everything. And then taking what I learned, these firing right at you, I had good responses on these. I did have some cancellations that I believe, from this. And that one, they're kind of, the tweeter at least is kind of firing away from you against the glass. And I just wasn't a huge fan. There's definitely some roll off that doesn't exist on the driver's side that I think I can fix. So, and I've always kind of wanted to do this. I built these pillars well before I planned on even competing in sound quality or had a care for it for that matter. So I've always kind of wanted to do this ever since I started getting into it. But that's my project for the summer, is to move the mids to the dash corners in kind of a upward angled firing pod, firing like that. And then moving the tweeters to the sail panels, hoping to get them above the steering wheel and shroud here, at least. That way those are kind of, and having those on axis as well to kind of eliminate this as an issue, or at least help with this being an issue. All right, so let's get right into it. So this was judged by Matt Kim. And I talked to him during my feedback time, how he got his scores. So for him, he said that a 3 was accurate and how it's supposed to be. A 4 was impressive, and a 5 was really impressive. So straight through, accurate for imaging focus and placement, except for on the highs in the center, he said the female vocals split, so they would dart away, and that was because I was aware of that whenever I went to go get judged. I went through the band limited pink noise by levels, but I didn't fine tune it, and I knew that I had some issues in the upper end. But I had a lot of issues getting the car set up just before I could even start tuning it, so I was really limited on time, and I didn't have time to really go through, comb through it. But other than that, the imaging was good. He was happy with the tonal balance. That was kind of across the board. Tonal balance was good. Same thing here. And then I'm not going to go through everything that was a 3. But he said that I had a 4 on resolution. He said that there was a second bass line on the back half, behind the first bass line in Billie Jean that you could hear, that you couldn't hear in some other cars that he listened to today. The split image, again, making a point on realism. He said it would pull you away from the experience. Same thing here. The split female vocals, kind of across the board, it affected the depth, realism, the composure in the front because it would just kind of move. And then I had a rattle from my left door, which is really annoying because it didn't exist until the day before the event, and I took the window switch apart and tried to fix it, but it's little bit deeper, and then I was hoping that it wouldn't exist, but I knew it was going to come. But he was the only one that noticed it. So either it went away somehow, he listened to it louder, or they didn't pay attention. I don't know. Overall, I got a 129 out of 214 from Matt, which I was pretty happy with, especially with all of the feedback. Like, obviously, this stuff sucks, and it was fixable, and I was aware of it. It is what it is. Moving on. This one was from Howard with MassQ. Howard did not enjoy my car. So Howard is a little bit of a bigger guy. Nothing against Howard, but I had my seat sat where I normally sit, and so he was kind of squished in the car a little bit and couldn't sit back as far as he needed to for the proper imaging. So he gave me feedback that didn't really align with the other two judges. Not that I don't trust the way the Howard's hearing, but obviously the seating position matters. And I didn't really know beforehand that you should have the seat all the way back whenever tuning for judges and all that stuff like that. And that makes sense. So I will take that into account in the future. So just the top basic installation safety was all good. Except for ergonomics, I got a 2 out of 5, which I believe was due to either the seating position and being uncomfortable, or because I was using the optical streaming device, so everything was done through my phone, volume control, and all that stuff was done through the phone. Tonal balance, I scored kind of low on. He talked about how there was kind of some smearing and some smudging around. Same thing with imaging placement. For him, it was okay. He drew this picture down here. He said the center was very wide and the right center pulled down, and the left center was a little wide as well, which I didn't get that feedback from anywhere else, so I assume that it's from the seating position. And left was fine. The center was all over the place. Center was good there, low there. Yeah. And then on to, he did say that the left center pulls back in the sub area, and I got that feedback from all the judges that on the left side that it would pull back and down a little bit. But I did think my center was pretty dialed in, so I believe that was seating position. Other than that, the width was a 2, which I felt was a little unfair. He marked on here where they were, and it's A-pillar to A-pillar, which I thought was the requirement for a 3, but perhaps I was wrong on that. Yeah, I would kind of agree with some of the other stuff. I said he wasn't a huge fan of it. I believe that if I would have been able to move the seat back, then that would have been a little bit better off. But yeah, so resolution, realism, transparency, ambience, liveliness was all just down a little bit. So I scored a 118 out of 200 for Howard, which was actually the lowest score that he gave of the entire day. So a little sad about that, but overall, the feedback he gave was still nice about how to mainly his biggest feedback was to move the seat back and tune from there, and it will help with width and depth and all that stuff. So on to, this was Scott Welch that judged this one, and Scott told me, so I actually tried to record the feedback that way I could go back and listen to it, and Scott told me no, because he said that he really enjoyed the car and thought it was a lot of fun. So he wanted to be on the public saying that. So because he said that, I'm telling you right now, Scott liked it. Scott loved it. Don't let him lie to you. So I'm going with the same. So Scott didn't tell me how he gets his numbers, but I'm going to go with the same criteria that Matt gave me, where 3 is accurate, 4 is impressive, 5 is really impressive. So I was across the board. I was in good shape for imaging, a little bit impressive for the mid-range, and the highs in the right of center. So very happy with that overall. Tonal balance, he really liked my sub, which I was surprised about. He said that you could tell that it was ported and it localized a little bit, but he thought it was a lot of fun and he really liked it. So moving on, 3s across the board. Ambience and sub was a little bit high, so that's cool. Happy about that. And then 4s on width and stage top location, stage height stability, and spatial realism. So I was really happy with that feedback. It was awesome to hear. He did give me some stuff to improve upon. So he also said that the base pulls back and 250 to 400 somewhere in there is a little bit hot. He said that on I think it was Big Bad John, that during the humming section that it would kind of pull a little bit and kind of waver and get wide. So, but it wasn't enough to reduce the score down. I Want You Back off the Mass Q tracks, well the Pro Am tracks, so it pulls left and down a little bit, and then Put On. He said that it had needed better balance, which was due to it being a ported sub, and it was below the last note of those 4 notes was below the tuning frequency. So is that what you can do about that other than getting a sealed box, or something like that. So, but scored a 144 out of 214 with Scott, which I was very happy about. That was pretty high overall, actually, in comparison to all of the cars on the lineup. It was a really solid score from Scott. So happy about that, especially since I heard him giving feedback to people, and he was honestly a little brutal, and I was kind of nervous for Scott because he was rough. But I got a trophy, third place in amateur, which I will most certainly. I feel confident that I will get first place next year with what I have learned from this. So yeah. So my points, 144, 118, and then a 129. Overall, great event. I had a lot of fun. I look busted right now. Overall, I had a lot of fun, and I will go back next year, and probably the year after that, and the year after that, perhaps the year after that.